We would be discussing about the different functions of inventory. So as we understood what is inventory, what is the role and what is the importance of inventory and how inventory is categorized into different forms. So the most basic function of inventory is to meet the anticipated demand. Now why is demand called anticipated? Because it is based on a forecast. You cannot predict the future, right? The inventory and the demand for inventory can vary from being higher to lower depending on the market conditions, right? Let's consider an example. So during the month of June, July, when the schools and colleges generally reopened, we used to have high demand for products like school bags, umbrellas, raincoats and all these items, books, pens, pencils, etc. But what happened in the last 2 years? When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, the schools were shut down. They were not reopening. So as a result, what happened? The demand for these products, it came down. So that is why we say it is an anticipation, or you forecast the demand based on different characteristics or market study and all that. Now, how do we anticipate the demand? We do it by comparing the sales of that particular factory or that particular production unit with the previous years. So suppose if I want to know what is the demand for my particular product or the product which I am producing in my factory, what will I do? I take the annual sales of the previous years. Say now it is 2021. So I take the annual sales in 2020, 2019, 2018, maybe 5 years to the previous 5 years demand. I would see what is the sales, and based on this I will draw a pattern. Okay. So that is why inventory, the main function of inventory is to anticipate or forecast the demand. The second one is to smooth the production requirements. Now, how do we make the production requirements smooth? Whenever there is a demand, what is the organization supposed to do? They have to ensure that they have the stock in hand that could be used for the production process. So as and when there is a production requirement, the stock has to be made available in the factory so that it can be used for the production of the finished good. So that is why the second function is that it ensures that there is a smooth cycle or there is a smooth production cycle throughout the organization. The third point is to decouple operations. So there is something called a safety stock. What is safety stock? As the name suggests, safety stock is something of the some extra stock that you maintain in your factory or in your warehouse, so that in case if there's a demand, there's a shortage of the product, you can use this safety stock. Okay, so what do you mean by decoupled operations? Decoupling operations means, suppose if there is a demand fluctuation, if there is a high demand or if there is a low demand, what happens when there is a high demand? When the demand is high, if you do not have the optimum stock to meet the demand, you can utilize the safety stock that is maintained in the organization. So that is the meaning of decoupling of operations. The next point is protect against stock outs. So stock out is the opposite of safety stock. Safety stock or excess stock, you maintain the stock in excess so that whenever it is required, you can take the stock and use for your production. What is stock out? Stock out means that you do not have enough stock to ensure the production goes without any disruption. What happens when the production is disrupted? You cannot deliver the product to the customer in time. The production is stopped there. It can be due to various reasons like strikes in the factory, maybe any environmental conditions or many natural calamities. It can be anything. If you do not have the enough stock or the optimum stock that is maintained in the organization, you cannot ensure that you have a production cycle or you have a smooth production cycle throughout the business year. Then the next point is take advantage of order cycles. Now, in order to acquire this raw material, you need to get it from your suppliers, right? You are procuring the raw materials from the supplier. Now, this will be based on a cycle. Whenever there is a demand, you have to ensure that the order is there or the stock is maintained in the organization. So what do? In order to ensure that the optimum stock is maintained, you have to follow a continuous order cycle. So order cycle is nothing but purchase cycle. Say some organizations, they purchase raw materials every 3 months in a quarterly basis. Some may produce it annually, give orders annually, or some may be giving orders in a half yearly. So every 6 months they would be placing an order for a purchase of a particular raw material, and for the rest of the year they would be using that raw material. So till the time the raw material is exhausted, before the exhaustion happens, they give the next order. So this has to be continuous. You have to ensure that there is optimum stock in the organization during any time of the year, so that whenever there is demand, the demand can be fulfilled. So you can take advantage of these order cycles by maintaining a good relationship with the suppliers, by providing a cycle for the order. So you have to ensure that every 3 months or every 6 months or every year you make the purchase. Next point is to help hedge against price increases. So certain raw materials like oil, petroleum products, or certain vegetables, the price of these products can increase. So suppose if you're using a certain kind of a chemical or a petroleum product for your particular factory, the price is increasing. So if you have optimum stock maintained in your organization, even if there is an increase in price, it will not directly affect your production because you already have the stock in hand. So you need not buy new stock. It is already maintained in the factory. So whatever is there, you can use and complete your production. Alright, so even if there is a price increase, it does not directly affect your production. The next point is to take advantage of quantity discounts. So what is quantity discounts? You would have gone to shops, maybe wholesale shops with your parents or your friends. And what happens when you go to a wholesale shop? You buy products in bulk, right? Not just 1 unit or 2 unit, you may be buying products in bulk quantities. Instead of buying 2 items or 3 items, you're buying 100 items and 150 items. So what does the shopkeeper do? Since we are buying in bulk, he gives you a discount, right? Because his sale is more. In the place of 1 or 2 units, you are buying 100 and 150 units. So you get discounts. So this is exactly what is meant by take advantage of quantity discounts. So whenever you are purchasing from your supplier, you are purchasing in bulk. You are buying the goods in bulk. It is not just 1 kg or 1 liter. It will be 1000 liters and 1000 kilograms like that. So what happens, since you are buying in a bulk, you get discounts. Alright, so you can take advantage of these bulk discounts also that you get. The next function is to strike a balance between demand and supply. Now, why do we say that the production has to be continuous? So that you have a balance between the demand in the market and the supply of the product that you have to give to the market. So what happens if there is a mismatch? If the demand is more and if the supply is less, what does it state? It states that the product has a lot of demand in the market, but your firm or your production unit is not able to meet this demand. So there is less number of products when the actual demand of the product is more. Now what does this indicate? It indicates that the customers do not receive the product even though the demand is very high. So it leads to customer dissatisfaction and customers may choose a competitive product instead of your product. Now what happens in the other case when the supply is more and the demand is less? So you have excess supply of the product. You have already produced many number of products and you have kept it in the warehouse which is ready for sales, but there is no demand. So the product will remain in the warehouse because there is no demand for the product. Now this is a loss for the firm. So it has to be ensured that there is equal supply according to the demand in the market and all the customers has to be ensured that they get the right product at the right time. So this is another important function of inventory. Now the last function is to provide desired customer service. Now what is logistics all about? We had been discussing it in the previous classes also. Logistics ensure that the right product is delivered to the right person at the right time, in the right quality, quantity and place. Now, this ensures that the customer receives the best quality product at the right time and in the right price. The price is also very important. The customer should not feel that he has ended up paying a lot more. There has to be value for the product that he has purchased. So this ensures that if all these functions are done correctly, or if it is fulfilled correctly, then your customer will be satisfied and your firm would be successful in providing the desired customer service. So these are all the different functions of inventory.